Hi, this is Robert Kiyosaki, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. This is the most important thing you can listen to today.
Here's the one.
I have a dream.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I could do this all day.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Cinderella's story out of nowhere.
It's in the hole. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Capital Hacking begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the big show, Capital Hacking. This is Josh McCallum, but that's not important. I'm with the world-class gentleman, John Edwin.
Well, actually, it's really fun because today Josh and I got to podcast together. Drove to beautiful Renault Winery and Resort, and I'll tell you what.
Today we get to do an interview with Alex Felice. You guys might remember him if you know. There's a lot of people who have watched the YouTube stuff he's done on accountable equity and about us. But really, most of you know him from A Better Life Tribe, where he and Brandon Turner kind of brainstormed that. Obviously, it's Brandon Turner's business. But early on, I remember when Alex was out there, they were collaborating, and boy, are they doing something pretty good with that.
Yeah, and you'll get to hear his story on how he literally wanted to start a new habit, as he calls it. And I won't give away. He gives 3 hobbies that will solve your life. And one of them was he picked up a very inexpensive camera and didn't know anything about it, and then paid for a class. And actually, he is like the man when it comes to real estate podcasting and videos and pictures. And yeah, you're going to love this story.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he didn't mention it, but he starts in the military and builds a life around real estate. And now all about dynamic, creative stuff. And really what we spend a good bit of time in here is talking about how we can make progress in our life to build a better life. So I think we'll name the show A Better Life. But wait till you hear the end of the story. If you really need a teaser, there's something at the end that blew John's mind. He thought we were kidding about the syndicated wedding. We can't tell you the whole story now. You got to stay until the end.
It's true, but I want to give you one quote. Josh is looking at me funny. Listen, surround yourself with people who make your dreams feel like a Tuesday. Let's go.
It took us a long time to get you back on the show. I believe you've been on the show. I don't have the number, but it was a great episode. It is so great to have you back, Alex.
I am excited to be here. As always, always good to talk to you. And thank you.
Yeah, and great to meet you for the first time. Myself, I know you and Josh are buddies. So Josh has spoken so highly of you, Alex, that I'm excited to have you on the show. Can you give us a little bit of background on who you are and what you're currently doing?
Yeah, I am the creative director for a company called Better Life, started by Brandon Turner. We started that in January. It is a mastermind and a podcast. And yeah, so Brandon wanted to start a new podcast. For those that don't know, he was the host of the Bigger Pockets podcast for like 10 years. And then when he ended that, he's like, I need to do a show of my own. And I want to put on videos because video podcast is, pretty hot right now. And I need somebody to help me. He needed somebody to help him make content. And so I find myself in a very interesting position where I dare to say, very popular in the real estate investing community, certainly the Bigger Pockets community. Very and popular. I'm probably the most well-known camera guy in the real estate investing community. There's a couple of us, but so there's an old saying in cameras, you don't hire the best photographer, you hire the photographer you know. And so when he's like, hey, I need a photographer, I need a camera guy, and you're the one I know. So
now you speak very humbly of yourself, but I'm going to interrupt your story for 1 second, and I want you to get back to it because I know that there's a cool origin story, there's a middle story, but I will say I get the best compliments from the work you did when we got together at Renault, and you came out and did a very nice piece. Thank God. Thank you very much for what you did. You did a whole thing about accountable equity and about how we raise money, and honestly, it's really well done. A lot of people compliment on it, so thank you for your great work.
I'm here to serve. Yeah, I love people and I love entrepreneurship, and I found that telling stories about telling creative stories about entrepreneurial endeavors involving great people is like, I don't know, it's the easiest thing in the world for me. It makes sense.
So how did you and Brandon get connected, and how did you even get into, the creative side?
Got to tell the origin. You got to tell that origin story.
So I started buying rental real estate. I started listening to Bigger Pockets in 2013. I start buying a foreclosure in 14. I bought a foreclosure in 16. And in retrospect, I don't know if this was the right thing, but at the time, this is what I thought. I was like, man, I don't want to start a big giant business, because what I was really trying to do was I was trying to get freedom. I was in a W-2 job. I hated it. So I was like, man, the last thing I want to do is create myself another job that I hate, that I can't get out of, because now I own it. So, and I don't feel that exact same way anymore, but I was like, when you go too far, you're like, I'm so trapped. I never want to do this again. So I started buying rental real estate, and I'm like, look, I know myself. I'm a very obsessive individual. If I don't give myself something else to do, I'll build this thing up and get myself in trouble. So right around then, somebody gave me a piece of advice. I don't remember who. I tragically don't remember who, because I think about this all the time. This piece of advice is basically what has shaped the last 10 years of my life, and probably will continue to for the rest of my days. He said, life will get solved when you get 3 hobbies. 1 hobby that makes you money, 1 hobby that keeps you in shape, and 1 hobby that keeps you creative. And I'm a 22-year gym rat now, squat and deadlift every week. And so I had the hobby that makes me fit. I had started buying real estate. I'd bought 2 properties. I'd made a little bit of money. I figured, I was like, oh, this is going to be, I'll be able to do this. So I had the hobby that makes you money. And by the way, the word hobby is so important, right?
Yeah,
it's not,
teach me about that.
Well, it's 3 hobbies in life 3 hobbies that will solve your life. It's not 3 things that you do only. And it's not obsess over one thing. It's not, make these your core identity. It's, 3 hobbies. And I think that terminology is very important. Like that mindset of,
wow,
I'm not gonna, freak out if I miss a week in the gym. It's a hobby. I'm not going to lose my mind if I don't make any money this week, or I don't buy a new property. So I don't obsess any of them, because they're my hobbies. So I had 2, but I had never had a creative hobby. In fact, I had played guitar when I was younger and tried to paint and do some art, and I was terrible at all of it. So for 31 years, I said, I'm not a creative person. I don't have a creative bone in my body.
No way. That part of your story I never heard, bro.
Oh, I talk about it actually with Miss Kate all the time. In fact, when I met her, I was like, yeah, I'm not that creative. I kind of cheat with the camera. Yeah, my Miss Kate. Yeah, it's my fiance. We're getting married in next fall.
At Renault.
You
had to plug it, didn't you, John?
I love you, dude. So I said,
he never misses a moment.
I don't blame him. And Renault is beautiful, and I might have to run that by her. So I said, but I have these 2 hobbies. I'm locked in, and now I don't have this 3rd hobby, and I'm looking for something in my life right now to sort of, fill a gap that I knew was coming. And so I don't know what it was, but I went and got a camera. I went and got a cheap little entry-level camera, and I just started taking pictures. And it took a while, because just like any hobby, you're terrible at it. And I didn't know this is what I was going to do. So it wasn't like I was like, okay, this is my way, and now I just have to do it every day. I picked up the camera every once in a while, and I tinkered with it, and I was terrible. And that went on. And over time, I ended up, what changed was I literally went to the internet, and I go to my local community college, and I bought a $60 8-week night course on photography. And the guy there taught me an immense amount. And that changed the trajectory, because then I finally was like, oh, I know how to get good at this now. So that's 2016 or 2017. And then now here we are full time. I ended up buying 85 doors in real estate along the way. And I'm the full-time creative guy for Brandon Turner. I'm the official photographer for Bigger Pockets. I work with guys like Josh McCallan and Matt Faircloth, and the guys down in Florida, Climb Capital, and a lot of real estate people, a lot of cameras. And all of it still mostly feels like hobbies. I love all of it. I'm very grateful.
Such a great point in saying that what you're doing is a hobby, because it takes you from having to do something to wanting to do something. And I love that you made that point, and that made an impact on me. And then, you going and picking up a camera and taking a $60 course and learning about it. And now you're with, some of the biggest podcasts in the world. Super, super impressive. So can you tell us some information about the Better Life Tribe and, what the meetups look like, what the mastermind looks like. Let's get into that.
Yeah. So I loved Bigger Pockets, still do love Bigger Pockets. And I'm not going to say anything bad about them, but they missed an opportunity. They missed what I consider to be the biggest opportunity, to be honest. Bigger Pockets is an education platform, but I don't know anybody who's been successful in real estate that would attribute the majority of their success to education. It's important. You have to get educated. You need that piece. But I think the piece that was most important to me was the community. It's the people. It's the people you surround yourself with that go like, hey, Brandon's great about this. He says it all the time. He goes, surround yourself with people that make your dreams seem like a Tuesday. And so, if I wanted to buy luxury apartments or invest in luxury boutique hotels, I'd hang out with Josh McCallan. And that's kind of why I do hang out with Josh McCallan. I'm like, can I get around this? I want to be part of this, right? And the longer I hang out with Josh, the more I know. I'm like, damn, one day we're going to figure out a way to do, we'll do some business together. So when we started this mastermind, it was basically like, what if I could find a way that what if you had 6 friends that you met with every week that could basically guarantee your success, right? Because I think every entrepreneur, I would like to think that the majority of entrepreneurs would say, man, if you had a group where 6 people that were all really pushing you and all had similar goals and mindset and would hold each other accountable, and you did that over the long term, you could almost guarantee success. Now, it's not to say you can't change that group and everything, but like that methodology, that mastermind, you guys are masterminds, right? You guys are in small groups, I assume, right? It works. And so what we wanted to do was we didn't want to do the, GoBundance is a very effective and popular mastermind, but it's expensive. And so we wanted to do something similar, and we wanted to do it for $300 a month. Now, it's not the same because there is something I'll be completely transparent. There is something about an expensive mastermind that excludes. It's sort of just it puts you with the people who can also afford the expensive mastermind. And that is a barrier. It's a sort of a self-selecting mechanism. So $300 a month, you get a little bit, you get enough people that it can be varied, but we have some very, very interesting, exciting, like technological products coming out that will, and AI we're using to sort people into groups that are right for them. But that's the gist. The gist is we help you find the right 6 people. We set you up with a framework and a methodology that says, hey, you're going to meet every week. Here's how you're going to run the meetings. You come on time, you end on time, you talk about these things, and you set your goals, you track your goals, you report your goals, and you're going to get better at life. You're going to make more money. You're going to go more dates with your wife or husband, and you're going to go to the gym more, or you're going to go away because no slackers allowed.
Wow, dude, that's compelling. I know John's going to share more about that type of detail mastermind experience, but I want to just step back a minute. For those listening who haven't even heard this word before, I think you did a great explanation of what it means to put yourself around the people, do the Jim Rohn philosophy of being around you'll become the average of the people you're around. So what if that average is always pushing up, basically? But I want to ask you a question. For those who are listening and they're naysayers about a mastermind or just completely blown away that there's such a thing, why do you think that's superior other than just doing it with your friends at work? Why not just at the cubicle, you grab 6 cubicles and you buddies create the same method of what you just described compared to going out and seeking out a mastermind?
You should do that. But you're going to run into some meaningful problems. If you work in an office and you work for a bank and your goal is to get out of the bank, and then you work with 6 people in the bank and their goals are all to get out of the bank, it's like, that's fine. But what if you guys have different goals? Right. And then also now you're at work and you're not really working on the bank. You're working on some other side gig. It's like, you're all going to get fired. I can tell you that. Right. So I think if you have 6 people that you work with and you're all rowing in the same boat, then yeah, you don't need me. You don't need Better Life. But if you're in a job that you either don't love, or maybe you're a business owner and you're trying to get better at your business, and you want people who, the benefit of the internet is you can get people from across the country. So like having people in your office, if you're all rowing in the same boat, I'm thankful that we just got an office. So now everybody here is trying to build Better Life. Everybody there is trying to build capital hacking and Renault, right? In your room. But like, what if the person who I want to work with, say I want to buy a property in St. Augustine, Florida, right? I want to get a bunch of people around the country who know that market and want to buy that type of property, right? And I want to meet with them every week and say, how can we do this together? And maybe not just like property specific, but like, I want to be in a group of people who all want to create content. How are you going to get better content production? I want to be in a room with people who only want to buy C-class multifamily and the North and Southeast. What if I could get you a room with like, those are 6 people. Some of them are ahead of you. Some are a little behind you, right? They're willing to meet every week. They have Zoom. Like they don't live near you, right? But they want the same things as you. So you sort of get access to 8 billion people. And the likelihood that you're going to find people that want to row in the same direction as you is much higher. Also, we do 2 or 3 in-person meetings a year. And those have been, we did 3 this year. On our first year, we did 3 in-person conferences, and they went really well. So it's exciting.
Love it. Yeah, so we call them pods in GoBundance. I love that you're having 6 people, and I have 6 in mine. Ironically, some just have 4, some have 5, and they're from all over the country and different walks of life. By the way, let me highlight this. You said, surround yourself with people who make your dreams feel like a Tuesday. That's a great quote.
That's a Brandon Turner quote. I would love to take a dump on him and not give him credit, but I cannot. It is a Brandon Turner quote, and he comes up with some good stuff sometimes, that dude.
Great job, Brandon. I love that quote. So you said in the future you're going to have AI kind of put groups together. How do you do them at this point?
So this is just a little interesting story. So in January, we launched this thing, and we have this very dirty startup mind where it's like, just get it, just sell the tickets, then we'll figure out how to build the mastermind. We had a little bit of the bones ideas of what we're going to do. So me and a tremendous human being, partner of mine named Matt Buck, technically my boss, but he's 25. So we said, we're going to go sell these tickets. And we're going to figure out how to sort people. And we'll sort them by net worth, and we'll sort them by like, goals, sort of like, are they here for entrepreneurship or real estate? And we'll do like a little self-sort, and we'll just figure it out kind of rough and dirty. And we figured we'd do it like on Excel over the weekend after we close enrollment, and we open the enrollment and we get 900 people.
Wow.
And so me and Matt are like, there's no way we can do this. There's no human way we can do this. So as a fluke of nature, I go to my Facebook. Josh knows I have I don't know what it is about my Facebook, but people like to interact when I ask questions or ask for favors or help. And so I go to my Facebook anytime I have a problem in life, and I just say, hey, can somebody help me with this? And inevitably I get the solution. So I go, hey, I got this data problem. Anybody can help me sort 900 people into small groups of 7, and then collect all those email addresses and then email them that they're in, whatever numbered group. And can we do it sort of fast? And then can we automate it all? And a guy reaches out to me who's actually in another mastermind of mine in my squad. I'm in a military veterans mastermind called the War Room. And a guy reached out to me who's in my pod. He's like, dude, do you know I do this? And I was like, I guess I didn't know this, but he's like, yeah, I have my master's. I did my final thesis on clustering small groups by AI. And so we brought him on, and he wrote us, and it's actually taken up until this week. We just released our first version of what we call a pod marketplace, which is we've been sorting slowly but surely by more and more data, but now we do a very complete profile, and we sort people. What we have a machine learning program that sorts people by their personality, their goals, and some financial metrics that, and then we weigh them different amounts. And then that algorithm changes over time as we find what we call successful pods, because we measure attendance.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude. And then actually,
hold on.
as
Is this Tyler Goebel we're talking about?
It is Tyler Goebel.
I love you, Tyler. Love that guy.
I love Tyler too. He's a good human being.
And then, by the way, that's fantastic. 900 people to sort out that quickly is. I've been there, but myself and another guy, Dave Vanderlaan, had to sort people out. It was 120, and that was a mess. So I can't imagine 900. But the other thing,
by the way, I'm not saying it wasn't a mess. I'm just saying we got it done.
The other question, as we talk about pods, because some people can even put this together for themselves. I know in our pod we use an EOS system where it's 3-year vivid vision, and we back it out to 90 days, and then it's weekly, and they're called rocks. And you probably have heard of this, but what type of system or structure do you guys have in those pods?
We have a structure that's probably similar to GoBundance, just because Brandon's a GoBundance guy, so I think it's where he learned a lot of it. I love that you just said that people have to make their vivid vision. I'm going to go to my entire tribe today and say everybody should do this. I've been doing this lately in my life, and I've been doing a little side business, e-commerce business, and I wrote a vivid vision out, and then this kid that I wanted to hire, I kind of gave it to him, and then he's been able to run with it. I never realized how powerful that was. But we don't do vivid vision, but we do a pretty generic structure where it's like the first one, it's so interesting. The first one is you start on time, you end on time. So something about the scarcity time metric makes everybody.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It really, if you go on forever, then people, what is it? Work takes up the amount of time you give it.
I think you just made that up. That's not actually a saying.
No, it's like a, I'll text you something.
That's bullcrap.
No.
That's bullcrap. No, of course it's a famous saying. Sorry, I messed with you and it worked.
It did work. Yeah, usually I'm on it. Okay, it worked. So the structure is, highs, lows, and we do hot seats. I think we're going to change our structure a little bit. I mean, it's an iterative process, but
hold on, just because these are really cool topics, and I think you're actually doing a great job of explaining. I would say you're fleshing out the value of these types of meetings. So I'll just repeat what I heard you just say. Highs and lows, I want to define it. And then hot seats. Those are two really interesting concepts. And I'll let you explain them since you threw them out there, just because not every listener has been part of one of these.
Sure. Highs and lows just get you out. It's kind of like group therapy, right? And so you go out there, you tell everybody, hey, what went well this week? Because telling people what went well is so important. It's like saying, I didn't realize this because I'm not a historically Christian fella. So at night, when you guys eat dinner, everybody says grace. They express their gratitude. And when you express it out loud, it sort of makes it real. And it also when I started doing it, it made me realize I was like, everything that I'm grateful for is myself. And that is toxic. It was all my health. It was my opportunities. And so it made me realize, it made me start thinking about how grateful I am for other people. So saying what's going well in life out to your peers is very healthy. Then you go and you say, what's bad this week? And that's harder, but very important too, because sometimes people don't know what's going bad in your life. And then also it gets you a perspective of like, how bad is that really? Is it a health problem? Is it a family problem? Is it a superficial problem? Did you not really have anything bad this week and you're making something up? These are all really interesting dynamics that matter when you say them out loud. Saying things out loud is, it's kind of like the vivid vision. Like I know where I'm going, but nobody can help unless I write it down.
Yeah.
So nobody can help you. Nobody can celebrate with you if you don't tell them what's low and what's high. So it only takes 5 minutes, but that little framework, if you really think about the psychology behind it, is very important.
Yeah. And then can you explain the hot seat?
Yeah, I don't actually like the way we're doing it right now. I think the way we do it in my military mastermind is a little bit better, but it's harder. Basically, somebody says, here's where I'm at with my goals, and here's where, here's why I haven't been able to accomplish them. And then, the agreement is everybody just grills you. Like, they just grill you, and we have a rule. You can only ask questions. That's a really important rule, right? You can't tell people like, oh, you have to go do this. You have to go do this. You should do this. It's more, you have to ask questions because people can't they have to be able to solve their own problem. They have to come up with the solution themselves. So you say like, well, if you had to get that done in the next 3 weeks, how could you do it? If you had to get that done in the next month, how would you do it? If you had to go off and raise money to solve this, like, how do you think you could do that? Or is that really getting in the way, or are you just making an excuse? Is that, have you not been able to accomplish this because of a lack of commitment? Are you just not committing the way you're supposed to? And you try to uncover the real issue for why somebody is not accomplishing what they say they want to accomplish. And it can be, when it works right, it should be very uncomfortable. You should not really be excited to come to the hot seat 6. You should be, I dare say, this is just Alex speaking. I dare say you should be shameful, right? I'm
I love
ashamed
it.
that I didn't.
That is like group therapy where, you just ask the person questions and they have to figure it out. And it actually reminds me of the concept of a moonshot, where when you have a goal that seems totally impossible, I think it's in 10x versus 2x, or of a moonshot. So it's like you come up with this impossible goal in the next 3 to 5 years, and you think in your mind it's impossible, and then you add the word unless next to it, right? So if you put unless, that opens that creativity for you to start thinking about, well, who do I need to connect with so that this can happen? Or what do I have to do to make that impossible thing, because it's unless. And one other thing I wanted to highlight really quickly, Alex, something for you parents out there. My wife and I have been doing this for 15 years plus, maybe. Our oldest is 20, and the other two are teenagers. And every night at dinner, we do a yays and nays. And we've been doing it since they were little kids, and we still do it. And it's like, yay, like, what was the best thing that happened in your day today? And what kind of sucked today? And it's just awesome to get that out of your kids. So definitely, if you don't put that into practice, I would suggest to start doing it, because you'll build a stronger relationship with your kids, and they get things out that they may not have been able to do. So next question, real quick. I know Josh and I are fighting. We're fighting because we have one microphone and we're fighting. What do the 2 to 3 in-person conferences look like?
We're still figuring it out, but one of them, we're going to make a real estate conference, because at the end of the day, the Better Life Tribe is, we're here for real estate, right? We're trying to buy real estate. So if you're not interested in real estate, then the Better Life Tribe is probably not for you. But if you're interested in real estate, then it's cheap enough that it can be for everybody. So one a year is real estate, and the other one a year is what we're calling the Better Life Summit. And it's mostly, we're trying to get the tribe big enough where we can limit it to only tribe members. And the idea would be, like, for example, in December, we're all going to Vegas. There's 500 of us, and we're going to go to Las Vegas, and we're going to do goal setting for 2024 together.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so there'll be 2 days. There'll be a lot of pod centric things. It'll be a lot of working activities, but it'll be a lot of goal setting. And Brandon, again, tremendous props to Brandon. I hate complimenting him so much, but he'll never listen to this podcast, so it'll work out. I would never do it to his face. He's really good at doing, like, let's go through, like, what do you want your life to look like at 3 years? What do you want your life to look at 5 years? Like, write it down, work it out with the people in your group. And so one a year will be real estate, and one a year will be just tribe members for goal setting. And then this year we did one in the interim. In the summer, we did a marriage retreat, which was really interesting because, Miss Kate and I are not married yet, but we got to set our 5-year goals together in a structured environment. And that was, like, so healthy to, like, really understand what she wants out of her time on the planet and what I want out of my time on the planet. How we can work together to get those goals together. And that was just, it was only 75 couples, but man, that was powerful.
So I have a few simple questions, and I'll start with complimenting your thoughtfulness on a lot of this is just rich. I remember before this started, I said, here's where we're going with this call. And you said, don't worry, I'll do great. You're always very confident in yourself, but you should be a little more confident in yourself there. But no, you're great. And I'm going to hit you with a simple one. Why is it called A Better Life? Can you just simply define what you guys wanted people to take away from that name?
We want to find, this is a transitory problem for us. People have different definitions of what a better life means. What we wanted to do is find out what the habits, the behaviors, and the beliefs that somebody had to possess in order to create a better life for themselves. Okay. So it comes down to this, these pods and this methodology. Because what a better life is different for everybody. I don't want to go to somebody and say, like, I don't want Brandon Turner's life. I don't, right? I really don't. And a lot of people don't want my life, but I have made my life tremendously better, right? What I think is better from the actions, the behaviors, the beliefs that I hold, to work a process that gets me to whatever my personal goals are. So I don't know what a better life is because it's different for everybody, but for us, what it is it's a series of, it's a methodology.
Wow.
right? It's a methodology. It's habits, beliefs, and behaviors
Dang, dude.
that you.
That's actually really compelling. I almost hope that the team that edits this puts that as the salient clip, because it is true. At first, when I first heard your name, the name of that, I thought, well, I don't really want to hear about their better life. But then if you have to put it on your own self, is, do I want to work towards a better life? And is there some wisdom that these people have honed that I can just utilize to become better at my own journey? And definitely, without a doubt, I don't think there's a person in the world who doesn't think that if you change your habits, put some new thoughts into your heart and mind, put a community around you, and have some discipline, you will build a better life. So thank you for that. I'm going to let John ask a question. Then we're going to come back to something called the syndicated wedding, but we'll get to that later. John, ask your question.
Well, I always like to ask our guests, what is a moonshot for you, or the next thing that you're looking towards?
Well, the next thing and a moonshot are not the same for me. The next thing is I want to build an e-commerce business called I call it Content Matters. And basically I find myself, like, as I mentioned before, I'm in a really interesting position where every entrepreneur in the world now wants to look good on camera. They want to do videos, Zoom podcasts. They want it to be easy, and they want to learn. They don't want to learn the art of, composition and lighting and all these things I've spent the last decade learning. But I want to be able to give that gift to them and say, hey, look, I can make you look and sound great. How I say is, you should look and sound as great as the value you are providing to the world.
You're so freaking great. That is such a well-articulated line.
Right. So I'm like, dude, if you're putting out this world-class content, you should look world-class. So I that's my current sort of, I call it a side gig because my main gig is obviously Brandon Turner, but I'm building this on the side, and that's called Content Matters. That's the next thing. And I think that there's a huge, not only an opportunity, I think there's a huge opportunity to help people. Because I don't want you to have to go through the last 8 years. I learned about where exactly to place this light and how to frame this room and how to get all this stuff done. I mean, it's just going to take you a lot of trial and error and a lot of money. But I can make it easy for people. But I would like to talk about moonshots, because I have two.
Well, just hold on one second, Alex. I should have asked you what your next hobby is. So I stand corrected.
No, I have my 3 hobbies. I'm never changing them: real estate, cameras, and squats.
Awesome. So moonshots, what do you got?
Moonshots. Since I was a little kid, I wanted to go to space. Still want to go to space. I'm gonna take my camera. I think it's gonna be possible in the next 20 years. It'll cost some money, but I'm gonna go to space. But my big moonshot, and maybe you guys can help. I don't know why I felt this, but I've wanted to do this for a long time. I don't know if it'll ever be possible, but it is definitely a moonshot. My favorite way to take photos is to just follow somebody regular or like interesting around in an intimate way and capture what I call plandids, right? Like sort of candids, but like, oh yeah, right there, but like move that, like, oh, you're in a good spot, but like move a little bit, right? Like just almost, oh, the light's right is good right there, but like tilt your head. Yeah. So plandids. And I feel like I have a really good way of capturing people's, I just look at people and I'm like, dude, everybody is so cool. And I just want to show them that even when they don't feel it. And so I say that to say, like, I have this way of being sort of an intimate photographer. And I want to take that and I want to photo shoot a presidential election.
Wow. Great idea.
Yeah.
All right. We are up against the wall because I know with your celebrity status, you only gave us a certain amount of minutes. We're up to 1 minute, 30 seconds left, or else we tip into another contract commitment to you with some riders and all that kind of stuff. So within 1 minute, describe the world's first wedding syndication idea.
Well, I want to get married to my Miss Kate, and I want my 300 closest friends to be there, and I don't want to pay for it. So I said, "Hey, I'm gonna." This was so funny because this was like a bit. Again, I went on Facebook and I just like riffed off this idea one night, and I'm incredibly excited about how this has been so well received. I said, "Look, don't buy me any gifts. I want you there. I want you to see it. I don't want it to be expensive. And I don't want to pay for it. So what if we all just went to a central location, and I have this big networking, I have this giant group of real estate investors, Brandon Turner, Josh Dorkins up the street, David Green's coming here. He's a buddy of mine. Scott Trench, the CEO of Bigger Pockets. These are all my friends. Josh McCallum's my friend. I was like, what if I could get everybody into a room it'll look like a real estate investing conference, right? It'll look like a real estate investing conference. If you want to network with real estate investors, I know all of them. Come to this conference, this non-conference. You're going to pay $300, okay, to network with all these people. We're going to do some activities. There won't be any sessions, but there'll be some activities, right? And I'm going to get married there.
When Josh asked you that question, Alex, because he's always joking, I thought he was joking, but this is serious. I love it. I love it.
This is real. This is real.
No, and it's real, and it's so real that I think it could become. It could actually become something.
I think he's on
for more than just you in the future.
I don't know people. I don't know people's weddings, or like I don't know that culture at all. You know it much better than me. But the idea of people saying, "Hey, don't buy me a gift, pay to come to the wedding. We'll charge you an upfront fee," right? And I'm not going to make much money on this. I figure if 200 people show up and we charge $200, right? That's 40 grand. It's going to, I think I can do this for 30. And then the wedding that Miss Kate really wants is for us to go with 10 of us to Morocco. And, you know, that's going to cost me about 10 grand. So I'm in a net zero. And in fact, I told people, I was like, hey, if I make any money, I'll donate the profit. I don't want to make any money on this. I just want to, I just don't want to come out of pocket to get married. I just don't want to come out of pocket, and I can leverage my resources to sort of solve that.
Yeah. So we have offered up all the Viva May resort properties, you know, the one outside of DC on the islands, or Renault, or another island one. But we have to stop there. We want to make sure people can reach out to you. I want to make sure I plug the ones we've been talking about. A Better Life Tribe. I think it has an A in front of it, or is it no A? Better Life Tribe.
Yeah, the website is A Better Life Tribe.
Okay, I thought so. So you have A Better Life Tribe. All the artwork is probably your work. You have a YouTube channel, correct? But it's your full spelling, Alexander Scott Felice. And then
I think it's Alexander Felice. Yeah.
All right, fine, whatever. Correct me. Spell check. And then you have the work you did with me. I think you can find that at Accountable Equities YouTube channel, which has blown me away. I thought it was awesome. What other ways should they reach out to you, buddy?
Right now, just hit me on Instagram, Alex Scott Felice. You'll see me. You'll see some of my pictures. You'll see me ranting a little bit sometimes about people wearing brands on their shirts. Did you see that one? I did this rant on the internet and got a lot of hate mail for it. I was like, stop wearing other people's brands. What are you doing? But anyways, Instagram. You can see my work at Instagram, and yeah, just reach out if you want to talk about content or you want to talk about Better Life Tribe. You know, there's a way for you to build wealth and be creative in this world, and if you want to do both or either of those, love to chat.
Awesome. Alex, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for adding such great content to the podcast.
Thank you. You guys are great.
Thank you, brother.
Damn straight. We just got
buddy.
We got to the end of another great show, and everyone listening right now, you're the family and friends. Thanks for staying till the end.
That was so fun. And hey, hit the like, hit subscribe. We're here to serve you guys. That's why we're doing this show. Josh is not paying me. I'm doing this off of my quote unquote sweat equity, because we want to make a difference in your life. And then that ripple effect will continue to touch the world.
Hey, amen, brother. Please check us out on capitalhacking.com, all the social media threads. And yes, I know you've probably already sent this episode to one of your best friends. Thank you. We love you. Just go right into your iPhone, hit the plus symbol. We'll talk to you later. See you next week.
Share.